Donnelly's with us. Trustee Irwin.
Here.
Trustee Gardner.
Here.
Trustee Mishu.
Here.
Trustee Riley.
Here.
We're all set. Trustee Bartholomew.
Thank you, Ellen. And as a reminder for meeting participants to please keep your mics muted unless you're speaking. On our agenda today, we'll start an executive session. Could I have a motion for the Human Resource and Labor Relations Committee of the Board of Trustees to go into executive session under the provision of 1 MRSA Section 4056A to discuss the evaluation of personnel and the consideration and discussion of appointments, evaluations, employment, and duties, and 1 MRSA Section 4056D to discuss planning for negotiations and communications with AFM, UMPSA, ACSUM, Police, PATFA, and Service and Maintenance Units.
So moved. Second.
Ellen, could you please take a roll call?
Certainly. Trustee Bartholomew.
Yes.
Trustee Dobson.
Yes.
Trustee Irwin.
Yes.
Trustee Gardner.
Yes.
Trustee Mishu.
Yes.
And Trustee Riley.
Yes.
The motion is carried.
Great. We'll be joining another meeting. give a moment for everyone to join.
We're all set.
Looks like we have, thank you, Ellen. We're now in public session. I'd like to introduce the first agenda item, tab 1 in your workbooks, the approval of the collective bargaining agreement, PATFA, and I will hand the discussion over to Manager Susan Cameron.
Yes, thank you. So we do have a tentative agreement with our part-time faculty unit, and that involves a 3% increase for each year of the contract. And that is effective on September 1st, which is the start of the collective bargaining agreement. And some other small or perhaps minor areas where additional compensation has been agreed to in certain circumstances for our part-time faculty. Some other changes in contract language, some updates in terms of benefits to recognize the recent Maine earned paid leave legislation, as well as another area to recognize if there is an active teaching member of the unit who does pass away during their service, an extension of the length of time that they're covered dependents will be allowed to elect whether they will continue on UMS benefits. And some additional language changes in the area of service and rank advancement in the unit, as well as an update regarding their evaluations and the ability for an outcome of a part-time faculty evaluation to be needs improvement. And this agreement was reached in the middle of February, and hoping to have approval to send this to the full board at their meeting at the end of the month for approval.
Thank you, Susan. Any questions from trustees or others? I want to just take a moment and thank you, Susan, for the hard work of and the teamwork and the commitment to getting this far, right? It really shows great commitment to the staff, the students, and the state of Maine. So this is really great work.
Thank you, Chair.
Great. With hearing no questions, I will read the proposed text of the resolution. That the Human Resource and Labor Relations Committee approves the following resolution to be forwarded to the Board of Trustees for approval at the March 28th, 2022 board meeting. That the UMS Board of Trustees accepts the recommendations of the Human Resource and Labor Relations Committee and authorizes the Chancellor to execute the collective bargaining agreement with Maine Part-Time Faculty Association, the PATFA, upon notice that the agreement has been ratified. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second, someone?
You had, I think we had two moves. I don't know who made it first, but I'll make a second to whoever made it first.
Thank you, Trustee Dobson. And Ellen, could you please take a roll call?
Trustee Bartholomew,
Yes.
trustee Dobson. You're on mute.
Yes.
Trustee Donnelly,
Yes.
trustee Irwin,
Yes.
trustee Gardner,
Yes.
trustee Mishu,
Yes.
trustee Riley.
Yes.
The motion is carried.
Thank you all. The next and final item on our agenda for today is tab 2 in your workbooks, and this is the Enterprise Risk Management update, and I'll hand it to our Director of Risk Management, Gretchen Caitlin.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. So I'm here today to provide you with an update on the risks that have been assigned to the Human Resources and Labor Relations Committee for oversight. So I will just remind everyone that each risk on our enterprise risk matrix has been assigned to a committee for a board committee for oversight. Today, we have 5 risks that have been assigned to this committee for review. So with that, I will go ahead and share my screen and we'll take a look at We'll start with page 10 in your deck. This is where we have the first risk, which is the personal injury or death of students, employees, or guests. Now, the risks are measured based on materiality, which is financial impact, frequency, the likelihood that it could occur. And when those are multiplied together, we get a risk score of 12. This has been assigned to the Chief Facilities Management and General Services Officer for oversight. Control strategies currently being employed for this risk include occupational safety audits, property audits. We also have general liability insurance and workers' compensation insurance coverage as well. And I just want to highlight that another way that we evaluate these control strategies to know if they're actually effective or not is using the experience modification rating. That's an actuarial review that's calculated to price your insurance premiums for workers' compensation coverage. It takes into account factors such as your financial loss related to work injuries, the frequency, et cetera. So a score of above 1 means that you pay more in insurance premiums because you are a risky population. A score that is less than 1 means you pay reduced premiums because you have a good safety culture at your institution. So the good news is that for 2020, our experience rating was a 0.68, which is good. And we further improved that in 2021, reducing it 18 points to a 0.51, which in the workers' comp world is very, very good. Moving on, risk number 5, we have Title IX complaints and lawsuits. This has a total risk measure of 12, and it's assigned to the Chief Human Resources Officer for oversight. Now, in addition to the sex offender registry screenings that we do, the annual training, as well as conducting investigations on claims, the Chief Human Resource Officer is also working to bring in a Title IX auditor to assess the current program and see if there's any opportunities to further enhance the program that we have today. That's why you'll notice that this is in the beige color because the strategies are currently in progress and not yet fully implemented. Moving on, risk 13, a loss of key officers or staff threatening to the continuity of operations. Now, if any of you have watched the news lately, you know that the labor market is, one of our top risks. So we are currently actively, very closely monitoring this. We do have in place today succession planning, leadership training. We have employee development plans. And we also implement cross-training opportunities whenever feasible and applicable. In addition, the Chief Human Resource Officer has also developed and already implemented a new onboarding program for employees, which is really important because it helps set the tone for our culture when we bring on new employees. In addition, the CHRO is developing a talent acquisition division of human resources, which is, again, that is a work in progress, and it's why you'll see that this is currently in the beige color. So lots of work underway. From a risk management perspective, we're also evaluating and looking into insurance coverage options related to key officer insurance. That insurance would help recoup any lost revenue if we lost a key officer. For example, some of our faculty may be key in terms of getting grants or fundraising activities and so forth. And if they were to leave, that would have a financial impact on the university. So we're exploring that insurance option right now. And finally, the last 2 risks assigned to the Committee for Oversight include minors on campus. So we do have liability insurance and excess coverage to protect the university from financial losses related to this risk. In addition, we do conduct background screenings for employees, including the sex offender registry. We have safety, compliance, and state required trainings that take place, as well as we implement waivers of liability when appropriate. For example, when we have third parties using our university space for their camps or their programs that involve minors, we make sure that we get waivers of liability to protect the university. And finally, conflicts of interest, which is overseen by the Office of General Counsel. We do have a conflict of interest policy. And in 2019, an annual training was actually rolled out for all employees. In addition, General Counsel reviews questions about potential conflicts, as well as there is a self-disclosure requirement. So that is a high-level overview of the 5 risks that have been assigned to this committee for review. In addition, the last slide, you'll notice that that risk management is committed to continuing to provide updates to the board committees. So you'll see a schedule there of when we'll be presenting at the next committee meetings. With that, I'll open it up to see if there's any discussion or questions regarding the control strategies that we provided an overview of today. Any questions or feedback?
Gretchen, great presentation. And my feedback, and CHRO Loretta Shields knows this as well, is I think that the talent acquisition group is a great addition for this university system and will make a meaningful contribution in the coming years. So I really like that. Any discussion or thoughts, team?
Actually,
Thank
but
you for all.
a little bit more on the talent acquisition would be interesting. And that's a system-wide function, and how does it work with the campuses? And just a thumbnail would be helpful.
So Loretta, if you're available, if you have a high-level overview, that would be great.
Yeah, we're actually working with our organizational development area right now, and we're kind of doing a Kaizen study where we're looking at the state of where we are today and mapping out the future. And what we are doing is, without adding any additional staff, we're working with the staff that is on each individual campus, and we're going to be providing training as well as mapping out our hiring process, and even making some changes to the hiring process in order to reduce the time that it takes to bring new hires on board. We're going to try and bring on new hires within a 90-day time period. We're going to start first doing a test model with USM. And then from there, we're going to roll it out throughout each of the campuses. And together we'll be combining, doing like a combination of, we're going to do working together on our advertising dollars so that all the campuses aren't spending money on advertising. We're going to have one big ad that we'll do that will combine all of the campuses. So we're pooling our resources. And like I said, we're even going to develop an online training for diversity in terms of search committee training for anyone that's going to be participating in the search process, to make sure that people have a good understanding of how to conduct themselves in the interview process. So we're still mapping that out. We hope to roll out with our first trial the beginning of April.
Thank you. That was really helpful.
Any other discussion? Great. Well, that concludes our agenda for today. And Gretchen, thank you very much for the overview. And everyone, we really appreciate the hard work and effort that's come into this, preparing for this subcommittee meeting. And I guess no vote is needed, Ellen. So with that, we'll give you an hour back, and we appreciate everyone's time today.